They were wrong. Daniel rested his forehead against the steering wheel and closed his eyes. 5 days. In 5 days, Lily would turn 10. 10 years old. Double digits. The age her mother had once called the beginning of independence. Emma had loved birthdays. Not the expensive kind. Not the flashy kind. The meaningful kind. She used to wake up before sunrise, baking strawberry cake from scratch while Lily slept. She would hum softly in the kitchen, flower on her cheek, sunlight catching in her hair. Daniel used to watch her from the doorway, coffee in hand, feeling like the richest man alive, not because of money, but because of that scene. Now the kitchen was quiet. The house echoed, and Lily had started asking questions. Daddy, can we have a real party this year? He had forced a smile. Of course, with decorations and balloons and someone to help you. That last part had nearly broken him. Children notice absences in ways adults can't explain. Daniel opened his eyes and looked up. He had parked outside Sweet Crumbs Bakery without realizing why. It was where Emma used to buy extra frosting when her own batch failed. The place still smelled like sugar and warmth every time he passed it. The bakery door swung open. A young woman stepped out, balancing 2 large cake boxes against her hip while fumbling for her car keys. One box slipped. It hit the pavement with a dull thud. She froze. Daniel reacted on instinct. He stepped out of the SUV and jogged over. We got it, he said, lifting the box carefully. She looked up, startled. Her brown curls were tied into a messy bun, strands falling around her face. There was flour on her sleeve and exhaustion beneath her eyes, but also something steady. Compose. Thank you, she said, brushing hair from her face. Today's been chaos. He carried the box to her old Honda. Busy week, he asked. Always, she replied with a tired smile. Birthday season. Apparently half of Boston was born in October. He almost laughed. Mine too, he murmured. She glanced at him. You have a birthday coming up. My daughter's. Something shifted in his tone because her smile softened immediately. Oh, how old? 10. That's a big one. He nodded. Yeah, it is. She closed her trunk gently. There was a pause. The kind where strangers either nod politely and leave, or say something that changes everything. Daniel surprised himself. I need help, he said. She blinked. With the cake, with the week. Her brows furrowed slightly. He inhaled slowly, as if preparing for a board presentation, but this felt far more terrifying. My wife passed away 3 years ago, he said. My daughter remembers every detail about how her birthdays used to feel. And his voice failed. He swallowed hard. I can handle companies worth millions. I can negotiate contracts across continents. But I don't know how to recreate what my wife brought into that house. The woman's expression lost all caution. It held empathy now. I'm sorry, she said quietly. She wants it to feel normal again. Just this once. Silence settled between them. Cars passed on the street. A breeze lifted fallen leaves across the pavement. I know this sounds unreasonable, he continued, words stumbling faster now. But would you consider helping us? Just for the week leading up to her party. Helping decorate, helping plan, maybe, standing beside me at the party. Her eyes narrowed slightly. Standing beside you how? He forced himself to say it plainly. Pretending to be my wife. The words hung in the air like something fragile and dangerous. She stared at him. You were asking me, she said slowly, to lie to your daughter. Not to replace her mother. Never that. Just to help her feel less alone. She crossed her arms, not defensively, but thoughtfully. Why me? He didn't hesitate. Because when you dropped that cake box, you did and take us. You laughed. Because you thanked me twice. Because you look like someone who knows what it means to hold things together when they're falling apart. Her composure faltered slightly. My name's Claire, she said after a moment. Daniel. She studied him carefully now, not his watch, not his car. Him. I have a son, she admitted. Noah. He's 7. Daniel nodded quietly. His father left before he was born. So when birthdays come around, I pretend things are perfect too. There it was. The quiet confession of someone who understood. Pretending helps them feel safe, she said. Yes, Daniel whispered. Exactly. She looked away toward the bakery window, thinking deeply. For how long? 1 week. And after, we tell the truth. Claire hesitated. I won't lie if she asks me directly, she said firmly. And I won't be introduced as her new mother. Agreed. And I don't want money for this. Daniel blinked in surprise. You don't. If I do this, she said, it's because I understand what it means. Not because it's a transaction. That answer struck him harder than anything else. Then why help? He asked gently. She looked back at him. Because kids deserve memories that feel whole. He exhaled slowly. Thank you. The following afternoon, Claire stood in Daniel's kitchen. The house felt large, but not in a warm way. Large like something unfinished. Family photos lined the hallway. Emma's smile appeared in almost every frame. Claire paused at one photo, Emma holding Lily at age 6, frosting on both their noses. She looks kind, Claire said quietly. Daniel followed her gaze. She was. He cleared his throat. I don't expect you to compete with that. I won't, Claire replied gently. Footsteps echoed down the hallway. Lily appeared, clutching a sketchbook. She froze when she saw Claire. Hi, Claire said softly, kneeling slightly. I'm Claire. Your dad said you were turning 10. Lily studied her carefully. Yes, that's a very important age, Claire added. Double digits means you're practically royalty. A tiny smile flickered. You're not royalty, Lily countered. No, Claire grinned. I'm just the cake fairy. That and a small giggle. Daniel felt something loosen in his chest. Over the next hour, Claire helped Lily sketch decoration ideas. She listened intently, asking thoughtful questions. She didn't overstep. She didn't try to act like something she wasn't. She simply showed up. When Lily left the room to grab her colored pencils, Claire turned to Daniel. You were terrified, she observed quietly. Yes, of losing her, of failing her. Claire nodded. Kids don't need perfection, she said. They need consistency. Daniel absorbed that. Consistency, a habit. That evening, as Claire helped hang pastel ribbons along the staircase, Lily watched from the couch. Miss Claire, Lily asked. Yes, you smile a lot. Claire laughed softly. Is that bad? No, Lily said thoughtfully. My mom used to smile like that when she was hiding stress. Claire stilled. Then I guess we have that in common, she replied gently. Lily considered that. Daniel looked away quickly, blinking. Because he realized something in that moment. This wasn't about pretending to rebuild the past. It was about building new habits of care in the present. And sometimes, the people who save a day are the ones who understand what it means to hold things together quietly, without applause. The week had only just begun. But already, something fragile inside that house felt less alone. Daniel had been awake since subah ke 5 baje. Not because of work emails. Not because of investor calls. But because today mattered more than any board meeting ever could. He walked quietly into the kitchen, and stopped. Claire was already there. Soft music played from her phone as she carefully placed the final strawberry slices along the top of the 3-layer cake. Pink frosting roses curled perfectly along the edges. The smell filled the house in a way Daniel hadn't realized he'd been missing. You didn't have to come this early, he said gently. She smiled without looking up. Bakers and birthdays wait for no one. He leaned against the doorway, watching her. For a moment, memory overlapped with reality, Emma humming in this same kitchen years ago. But something was different. Claire wasn't trying to replace anyone. She was simply being present. That difference mattered. Footsteps padded down the hallway. Lily appeared in her pajamas, hair tousled, eyes half open. Then she saw the decorations. The balloons floating near the ceiling. The streamers across the doorway. The cake. Her breath caught. Daddy. Daniel crouched down. Happy birthday, sweetheart. She ran into his arms, and then pulled away to look at Claire. You came back, Lily said softly. Claire knelt down. Of course I did. Double-digit royalty deserves a proper celebration. Lily grinned, but there was something else in her eyes. Relief. By afternoon, the backyard buzzed with laughter. Children from school ran across the grass. Parents stood near the snack table complimenting the decorations. Someone turned on music. The house felt alive. Daniel stood beside Claire as guests arrived. From a distance, they looked like a couple. But what stood between them wasn't romance. It was partnership, intentional kindness, habit in motion. You okay? Claire asked quietly as they watched Lily laugh with her friends. I haven't seen her this light in 3 years, Daniel admitted. That's not because of me, Claire replied. It's because you kept showing up even when it was hard. Before he could answer, Lily called out. Cake time. Everyone gathered around the table. The candles flickered. 10 bright flames danced in the breeze. Daniel placed a gentle hand on Lily's shoulder. Make a wish, he whispered. Lily closed her eyes. Claire found herself holding her breath. After a moment, Lily blew the candles out in one steady breath. Cheers erupted. Applause. Laughter. But as the noise settled, Lily did something unexpected. She grabbed Claire's hand. Can we talk? The backyard noise faded into the background as they stepped onto the quiet porch. The autumn wind rustled the trees. Claire sat beside her. What's on your mind, birthday queen? Lily didn't smile this time. Are you going to disappear after today? The question landed softly, but heavily. Claire felt her throat tighten. Inside the house, Daniel saw them sitting together. His body stilled. This was the moment he had feared. Claire chose honesty. I made a promise to your dad that I wouldn't lie to you, she began gently. Lily nodded bravely. I'm not your mom, and I could never replace her. Lily's chin trembled slightly, but she didn't cry. My mom used to say something, Lily whispered. She said love isn't about who stays forever. It's about who shows up every day. Claire felt tears gather in her eyes. She was very wise, Claire said softly. Will you show up? Lily asked. Not as a replacement, not as a title, just as a person. Claire didn't hesitate. Yes, if you let me. At that moment, Daniel stepped onto the porch. I was wrong, he admitted quietly. Both of them looked at him. I thought pretending would fix everything, he continued. But pretending only helps for a moment. What really fixes things is choosing to care again tomorrow. And the next day, he knelt in front of Lily. I can't bring mom back, he said, voice thick. But I can promise to keep showing up for you. Not perfectly, just honestly. Lily looked between them. Then don't pretend anymore, she said firmly. Just be real. The wind carried the faint sound of children laughing in the yard. Claire wiped her tears and smiled. Real I can do. Lily surprised them both by wrapping her arms around Claire first, then pulling her dad into the hug. It wasn't a replacement. It wasn't a new beginning announced with fireworks. It was something quieter, a choice. Over the next weeks, Claire kept her word. She came to Lily's soccer game the following Saturday, cheering louder than anyone. Daniel sat beside her on the metal bleachers, handing her hot chocolate when the wind picked up. Daniel, in turn, quietly helped Claire redesign the website for her bakery. Orders increased. She hired part-time help. Stability began to grow. Noah and Lily met soon after. At first shy, then inseparable. One evening, weeks later, Lily placed a framed photo on the living room shelf. It was from her birthday. Daniel on one side, Claire on the other, all three smiling. She placed it next to a photo of her mother. Not instead of, beside. When Daniel noticed, he felt something shift inside him. Grief hadn't disappeared. It had simply made room. That night, as Daniel locked the front door, Claire stood beside him. You saved more than a birthday, he said quietly. She shook her head. No, we just practiced something small every day. What's that? Showing up. And that became the new habit in that house. Not pretending, not replacing, but choosing again and again to stay. Because the real power of habit isn't in grand gestures.